Still the first historical meeting and the first historical appearance of the GMS magazine at Spiel, recording interviews, and we have a huge amount of people to talk to, and we have a huge amount of interviews to conduct, so I'm not going to make this introduction any longer. Welcome back to another helping of the GMS magazine interviews at Spiel. Spiel tends to attract hotties in terms of games. Snowdonia, it's been one of the hotties of the show, and we have the designer with us. Benedict, what has it been? No, actually, sorry, I couldn't help myself. This is Tony Boydell, who you should know by now because I interviewed him for the UK Games Expo when Snowdonia was but a prototype.
Yep.
Snowdonia is no longer a prototype.
No, it's a real board game now, yes, in all its beautiful, beautiful glory.
And beautiful it is, seriously. It's looking absolutely gorgeous. What has it been like to bring out something as big and well produced as Snowdonia?
Well, we've always prided ourselves in Surprise Stare of making the best of what we've got talent-wise in our company, and we feel that we've done really good jobs with the games that we've done in the past. But when you work with somebody like Lookout and Clemens, particularly with the art side of things, you really can see how much ability those guys have got and how little decisions that they make such a difference overall. It's just been wonderful. It's so thrilling to see my little humble prototype that was sort of printed on bits of old cardboard, 12 months ago, in full colour, it's rich, it's exciting, and to see people's reaction to it as well, it's really, really wonderful. It's so pleasing.
And it's been well received. I mean, everybody I've spoken to who's played the game, including myself, who played it, the game plays absolutely lovely, and yet it is a very niche game in terms of the theme. Yeah. Incredibly thematic, but based just on the one mountain. How did that come about?
It all started with a bit of a joke, really. We were Essen about 6 years ago, and in Surprise Stare we like to do different ideas in our games to make our games slightly different each time. And somebody said, what would we do if we did a railway game? Now, I love railway games, but railway games are about lots of tracks and share dealing and top-hatted rich people. And I said, no, what we would need to do is just one railway, and we'd all have to help actually build it. And when you say things like that when you come to Essen, the idea just stays in the back of your mind, and then you can't help but think about it. So I went and I looked up about the Snowdon Mountain Railway, because that's the only railway I could think of where you could dig, and it was the first thing that came to my mind. And as I read about it, the history was so exciting, and the fact they built this thing up 4.5 miles of mountain in just over a year, in all sorts of weather, I thought this is such a great idea for a game. So the whole game is built on the theme. So it's not a game with mechanics with the theme put on top. It's the theme, and all the mechanics had to reflect the process of digging and building and fighting the weather and all that kind of stuff. So it comes from that side of my kind of design head. So.
And why Snowdonia particularly? You could have chosen a different location or invent a new location.
Well, the story of the Mount Snowdon Railway is particularly good because it took such a short time to build. There were so many people that would go to Wales to visit the mountain, and they'd have to hike up the mountain, and the guy thought, I can make some money by building a railway. So they built the railway, but it has such an interesting story after that. It's not just building the railway. The first train that drove up to the top when it was opened fell off the mountain. Oh. Nobody died, but the train disappeared for 6 months because the weather was so bad they couldn't find it properly. So a year later they fixed the track, they send another train up there, and the wagons start going off. Unluckily for one chap, he jumped off. The wagons stopped okay, but when the guy jumped off, he killed himself, unfortunately. So it's such a fascinating story, just this little tiny mountain in the sort of relationship to the rest of Europe. but it's got such a great story. And did you know that quite a few early expeditions to Everest, the climbers practiced on Mount Snowdon in Wales because the weather changes so quickly, because of some of the climbing elements, they're really quite difficult. So Snowdon was the rehearsal for Everest. So already I'm telling you all this stuff, and I just use Wikipedia, you know, and a couple of Google searches. So if you're a real aficionado, there's so much more to be found.
To be clear, Snowdonia features a train, but it's not a game about trains.
No, it's not a game about trains in a traditional sense, which is, I think, why it's much more accessible. You know, it's a Euro game. It's my first proper Euro game design. So it has all those familiar mechanics of worker placement and the way that worker placement works, but it has the weather thrown in to mess things up, and it has the event cubes that come out of the bag that make the game do things as well. So it adds a little spice. So those two bits are really our unique take on it. But the theme is about a railway, but you're not playing a railway game as such, or at least I don't think so anyway.
Which is good, because it's going to appeal to railway enthusiasts, but it's also going to appeal to people who are not particularly interested in just building, you know, or managing a rail line. This is about the whole thing. Now, I have to ask you, because you must have been, you must have seen from the conception until the game is finished. Do you like it?
Yes.
Very resounding yes.
That's extra Haribo for you later on. Well done, my boy.
What do you like about the game, apart from the fact that it's your dad who designed it?
I got to take part in the front cover of it. I got to pose for him.
Right.
So he's me, apart from I don't have whiskers or a pipe.
Right.
Yet.
Oh, I see.
Oh dear, setting a precedence in there. How many times have you played it, and do you win every time?
Oh. None, so I don't know.
Played it. No, he hasn't played it, no.
Why not?
Because Dad doesn't want me to steal the glory.
Yeah, that's true. He's too good at games playing. Paco,
Is it really?
Yeah, he's very good, yeah.
Have you ever, two of you, designed the game so far?
Benedict is working on a game at the moment. He's starting simple. He's got a deck of cards, and he's trying to use that normal deck of cards in a different way. So we're working on that quietly, little by little.
So it's going to be next year's release?
Or maybe the year after. Yeah, maybe the year after.
Now, a bit more seriously though, now that Kickstarter is coming to the UK, what do you think the impact of that is going to be for small publishers and designers such as yourself?
Well, I famously in the past sort of criticised Kickstarter because I'm generally disappointed by the quality of what comes out of a lot of the products. But I think this Kickstarter is going to be great for the UK because there are so many little game designers who are just looking for that little bit of a push-up. And also in Europe, of course, it's going Europe-wide, isn't it? So I think, you know, the Europeans, we're quite fastidious, and I think that we're quite keen on the quality control, so we'll make it work. And I'm actually thinking about doing a game design on Kickstarter myself, so
okay.
Yeah, it's I'm going to eat my hat, I think.
Well, I will only say, as long as it comes as nice as this, we'll back it up all the time. Best of luck with that. Best of luck with Snowdonia. I hope it does incredibly well, and look forward to next Spiel or the Spiel after and see what the two of you come up with.
Brilliant. Thanks, Paco.
This is a very strange interview for me to do because I'm Spanish and the gentleman I have with me, Mr. Servando Carvallar, is Spanish, but we're doing this in English for the benefit of the audience. And Servando, you are one of the owners and founders of GenX Games, one of the very few, apart from another one we're not mentioning, Spanish companies that are actually doing well within the board game industry. Tell us a little bit about the company and how you guys started.
Well, we are all fans, board gamers from very little age. From my childhood, I play every kind of game, from Spiel and Avalon Hill in the dinosaurs age. And well, actually we have shops, retail shops, a chain retailing in Spain that's named Generation X. We are 16 shops, from comics and games and science fiction and fantasy related items. So we naturally we spend our free time playing, and we want to do something about that, because in Spain the audience for the games, for this kind of games, strategic games, role-playing games, is growing, but now is not so huge than in the rest of the Europe. So we'll try to get our own company, but mostly with Spanish designers, with Spanish illustrators, and give this little twist, because many of my partners were American trash gamers, right, and also Euro gamers, and also Magic card players. So we want to do some like Euro trash games, right, with more thematic ambience, and a little less cubes in our games, but with these mechanics that Euro games came with more fluid mechanics and management of the games. So that's what we pretend to do. A little old style, old school flavor to our games, but with the most recent mechanics and the today. Yes. Okay.
And theme your games really ooze. I mean, the first game I ever played from you guys was 2 de Mayo. Yes. That's done incredibly well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, Daniel Ball, it was his first design, and he did it very, very well. He's very well. He mastered all the history of this epoch, and he wants to do something like Napoleonic Wars in Spain, but with a different flavor. And I think that he managed and do it quite well. Yes. Well, today we'll continue to sell this game, and I think it was a masterpiece for us, and a very good start.
Yeah, definitely. But then you went on to doing more and weirder things, and the good thing about you guys, which I do like, is that you do take your risks. I mean, things like Mechanicsburg, that was a big risk. It's a really complex game.
Yes, I was. This is my design, and I was a very big fan of the golden days science fiction, Isaac Asimov, and Robert Heinlein and Arthur C. Clarke, and I wanted to do some game that reflects this kind of future, but also mixed with the cyberpunk and the new flavor ones. So it was a very difficult proposal, but my goal was to include characters, many situations in a mega city entourage. So I wanted to do that, and at the time, well, after those years, they come some games that include this kind of characters and interaction in science fiction, but at the moment it was a very risky proposal, but it was a fan of games, very complex games like Supremacy. Yeah. That is, I think, the most complex game ever created, and I wanted to do something like that, but play with a little playability. Okay. So, well, it was not a complete success, because I think the rule book is too hard to, it's not so well developed, but I think it's people that go through the rule book enjoy very much because it's very unique.
What have you brought new for Essen? What are your new releases?
Well, we brought Norwest Passage Adventure, that is designed from those three brand new designers, Spanish designers, with a very, very, very good look with our team of designers. And it's a game of exploration, a quick game of exploration about the route of to discover in the 19th century to go through the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. And well, I think it's a quick game. It has characters, because our brand, and also has this mechanic that is very nice and quick. It's a game about 30-40 minutes for 4 players, and I think it's doing very well, and people are liking it very much. Yes.
And you have in production at the moment, prototype about to come out, hopefully, 7 Swords.
Yes. So we didn't reach this Spiel 12 this time, but I think we will go to do it early in the 2013, and it's a very nice game about the legend of the 7 samurais, like something like we view in the films of the classic films, and it has some aspect of war game and some also very deep thematic in there, and I think it will be a very good game for people that are looking for something different in the many populated Asian style games. But this is really another thing, and it's by the Oscar Arevalo, is the designer of Stalag 17. And well, I think it's
good credentials.
Yes, it's very nice, and it's very nice illustrated. But one of our main illustrators in Madrid, that is a collaborator with Warhammer and Games Workshop. And
when is it due out?
I think in the first 2-3 months of 2013.
Friends, something to look forward to. Thank you very, very much indeed for your time. Best of luck at Essen, and I hope you sell out.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. Yo, came quickly.
Some of the best looking games are coming out from France. I don't care if I get some slag out of that. People think the other games, I don't care. Some of the best looking games are coming out from France. And Anne-Cécile Lefebvre here is responsible for some of those games from Ludonaut. Anne-Cécile, thank you very much for your time, first of all. You are being incredibly busy with Phantom at Spiel, which is great news. Tell me about your recent releases, Phantom. What's all about?
That's a 2-player game in which you play cursed souls, so you manage phantom team, and your goal is to scare the poor family that live inside the whole house. So that's a game in which you are face to face, and the house in the middle of the playing area, and like in Lost Cities from Ragnar Knizia, you play in front of each zone of the house. You play either rooms or phantoms, and all the cards has effect that applies immediately when you play the card, like stealing a card to your opponent, or moving the characters in the house, or maybe getting a card from the discarded pile, or so on. So you can you play in the 4 zone one by one, and you can combine the effects of your cards in order to get the characters. So, and the first player who has 11 points, victory points with those characters, wins the game, and each one of the characters has 2, 3 or 4 victory points in it.
So it sounds like a fairly simple game to play.
Quite simple, yes. The rules are not difficult, but you have some tactics in playing the cards in the order in which you play them. So it lasts about half an hour, not so long, and you can play very tactically, or if you want easily. So yeah.
Now, one thing that I've noticed about the game, which I'm really interested in, is that you have packaged the game beautifully. I mean, that is...
Yeah, the box is a book. That's a little book, and the idea was to associate either a short story with a game. So the short story here in this page, they are in French and English, and it's telling about what happened in this house, in this very old house during the centuries before your game. So it introduces you the characters and the story. You do not need to read the story before playing the game, but it's very interesting to get the atmosphere of the game. Yeah, and here you have the box to get the cards and the rules, of course, of the game too. So that's a book and a game.
How did you come up with the idea of creating something like that? Because I have never seen something like that before. What was the process like?
That's the number 2 of our range. The first one was Crime Box, and it's only in French for the moment, but it may be released in English soon. I hope so too. And in this game, Crime Box, the goal of the game is to create a story, a crime scenario. So with this game, all the games were a new story. So I first tried to write some stories from these games, and then short stories have been created like that. So we wanted to associate both the games and the products of these games at the short stories. And then with the Phantom, the atmosphere was very interesting also to be told. So we wanted to continue and to go on this range.
Which sounds beautiful. Now, one thing about you guys is that you have a very interesting selection of themes within your games. I mean, all your games are very, very heavily themed. Yggdrasil, Shitano, now Phantom. How do you choose what kind of things and what kind of games you want to publish?
You're right. The themes are very, very important for us because this is the way you enter the game. You are immersed in the game. So we like a lot of themes, but fantastic and fantasy and historical themes are very. We like them. So we are not interested in very modern theme or with industry or company or economic. For us, a game must be a travel into fantasy, and so that's the reason why we have chosen Yggdrasil with the North theme, and the Phantom with fantastic and ghosts and so on. The next game would be also with a very strong theme.
What can you tell us about that game? Is it secret? Is it still in development?
Yeah. We are working on 2 games to be released on spring next year, and one other new game for next year in Essen. But it's too early to tell about them.
Is Phantom now in distribution? Can people get hold of it if they want to buy it?
Not now in the US. It will be, I think, in a few months through ACD distribution. Okay. So we have to make an agreement, a correct agreement, and then it will be available for all the US people.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much indeed for your time. Best of luck. Essen has been a fantastic success. I hope it continues. I'm very much look forward to what's next. distribution is obviously a very key aspect of the board game industry, and few people do a lot better than Schmidt. I have with me Matthias Karl. Matthias, exactly what Schmidt do? Why are you guys here?
We present basically our whole range of family and family games, children games, and games for adults, or family and adult games combined. I'm responsible for family and adult games, and we're just here to show all the fans our new games here, as well as our products from Drei Magier-Spiele and Hans im Glück-Spiele as well.
Have you got any release for Essen, something special for the show, or are you just showcasing your whole catalog?
We basically just show our newest products, but of course we have all our back material as well here. But one of our newest products is Dog Royale, like the new version of Dog, and Rondo, as well as one new Hans im Glück-Spiel, the Palaces of Carrara. And and of course we have the new Dominion expansion as well.
Which is absolutely brilliant.
Of course, Dark Ages is awesome.
How many games do you have in your catalog? Because you're pretty big.
We're pretty big. At the moment, I can't really tell you at the moment right now, because it changes all the time. So I guess it's around 500, I guess so.
That's not bad.
I think so, yeah. Or maybe 300. I'm not really sure. I don't know exactly about the children games, but we have definitely a lot, and it's definitely worth to come here and check them out.
Definitely. What's your reach? I mean, where is your biggest market? Where do you guys make more business?
Basically in all of the German-speaking countries, and as well as in the Benelux states and France.
Who distributes you guys in the US? If people wanted to buy your games, how easy are they to find?
They are available, especially the Hans im Glück games are definitely available with I think Philosophia and Rio Grande games as well. And all the other games are available as well, but probably have to ask the export manager.
What are your plans for the future? What was your pipeline like looking forward to Christmas at the moment?
Definitely selling a lot of Rondo and Dog Royale, which are pretty awesome games. Of course, our focus will be, like all of the game developers, game publishers here, to focus more on export as well. I mean, we're definitely looking forward to some releasing more material in Scandinavian countries as well, and Southern Europe too.
And now a cheeky question. Of all the games you have, which one is your favorite?
My favorite game is Kniffel, yeah? Kniffel, it's one of our standard games actually, and that's definitely my favorite game. It's easy and fast to play. Kniffel, yeah. For example, that is Kniffel Extreme, one of my favorite games.
Well, we'll make sure that we take a proper and very good look at that one. Matthias, thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome. Have a good time here.
Thank you. Getting a new edition of a game out is a process that has to be very, very carefully considered, because if you're just going to reprint, not worth it. You have to bring something out. And this is something that both here, Chris and Eric, has done for Colonial, which is, at the moment of recording this video in Spiel, is on Kickstarter. By the time it comes out, the Kickstarter will probably be over, so you won't be able to get it. But you guys have made a massive, massive effort in making sure that Colonial for the second edition is going to be a much better game. What makes the second edition better than the first edition?
The rules. The rules are twice as better. I worked 6 months to improve the rules, and now I'm proud of them. They have arrived, and the rules are just much better. So play the second edition rules, even if you got a first head. In the second edition, there's much more to it, because I corrected this, and now it's much more fluid, punchy, and we tested the Nations variant, which is a variant of the game that puts difference between the players. If you play the Nation variant, one is going to play Great Britain, Spain, France, and there are different countries with different different abilities. So it's asymmetrical, more historical, and that's a different game. Okay. It's a bit more complicated, but it's much more fun to me.
So yeah, it's a whole new dimension, more depth to the basic game.
Yes, yes.
Eric, from your point of view, because you're more in the business side and the design side of the whole thing, what was about Colonial that attracted you and made you think that it would be worth taking to Kickstarter?
Well, mainly last year when it came out, it sold out at Essen right away, and so I knew it was a good game. That was the first point. And I love the map. The map is excellent, and it's a great game. It's really well designed. Christoph put a lot of work into upgrading it, putting out an even better product this time.
How has been for you the whole Kickstarter experience? Because I haven't done one, but I'm told that it's very hard work.
It can be, yes. This is actually our second Kickstarter for this product. The first time we put it out, it didn't go through, so we made some changes to it, and it's going much better this time.
What lessons did you learn from the first Kickstarter to help you with the second?
Well, the main thing was we gave some more incentives for everybody that was backing the project. One thing, just giving a better price point for everybody, a limited edition special price.
And what are your plans for the games once the Kickstarter is finished? Because I presume that you will have to fulfill everything that you promised to the backers. What about the rest of us? What's going to happen to people who want Colonial but don't get the chance to back it in Kickstarter?
Oh, it'll be available all over the world, really. After it comes out, we'll have it in the U.S. and in Germany. It'll be in December and be available all over.
So it's going to be, I mean, it's very quick production process. If it's going to finish in 2 weeks and December, ready for Christmas, it's going to be out. How long have you been planning this?
Oh, it's been all year, ever since the first edition went out.
Chris, for you, what plans do you have for the future of the game? Are you going to work on expansions, or are you going to work on new games?
The expansion for Colonial is playable, almost ready. I'm just waiting for to see how people welcome the second edition to make it happen. Okay. If it works, we go for the expansion. It's going to release in March. The expansion is the 19th century, because this game goes from 15th century to the end of the 18th century. So the expansion is the 19th century. The 19th century is quite hot on colonialism and imperialism. So
the game also looks absolutely beautiful. I mean, in terms of components, the graphic design, it really looks, the cartography looks gorgeous. What has been the process to make sure that you guys got the look and feel that you wanted, that you thought the game deserved? How did that work out?
I work with a graphic designer who is a friend of mine, and he's not into games, but he's a great graphic designer, I think. And so I wanted to, so I worked with him, and I was the art director, meaning I was always on his back saying, I want this, no, correct this, I want this. But usually he gave me exactly what I wanted, and very often more. So
good deal.
Good deal, yeah, good deal. But we spent too much time. We spent 4 months on the map. We were talking to each other on Skype for almost every day. I mean, I'll never do that again. Colonial is my...
That's the benchmark.
Yeah.
The differences in the second edition, we've got a sticker set in the second edition for the nationalities version of the game. And with the stickers, you can play a really nice looking variant of the game. All the pieces, the components are pretty much the same with the old version and the new version, except some upgraded artwork. The box is slightly smaller on the second edition, meaning it's not as deep, but it has all the same components. There's some different artwork on the front of the box. The second edition has a slightly different captain look to it instead of a conquistador. And there's 10 dice instead of 5, which is a little bit of an upgrade. The board is still the same quality. The cards look nicer now, I think, with the change without the border. And some of the words have been changed. Some of the text has been changed on the cards to make it more clear with the new rules upgrade.
Once the Kickstarter is over, if people want to get hold of it, what's the best place to pre-order it or order it?
We will probably continue the Kickstarter campaign afterwards through another retailer until it gets released, but we hope to have some available at Board Game Geek Con in Texas in November. We're not sure if we're going to have it available in time to get there for then, but it will be available in December.
Well, guys, best of luck. Fantastic work you've done. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I hope it sells out again on first run and you have the perfect excuse to reprint it. So, well done, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
In the busiest convention in the world, it's only fitting to talk to one of the busiest people in the convention. This gentleman here, Stephen Buonocore, the owner, managing director, everything brains about Stronghold Games, has been selling games like hotcakes, quite literally. So during the interview, you may see that we are going to be interrupted because people want to get the games. Don't be surprised, don't be alarmed, nothing personal.
It's not personal.
Stephen, welcome to the GMS.
Thank you for having me on, it's great.
It's an absolute pleasure. I've been longing to have you guys for a long time. Now, you guys have been coming to Spiel for a while now.
3 years now.
Yes.
Third year.
What's been the experience like for you guys to come all the way from the US, packed with awesome games, and sell them out?
I mean that's the whole thing. I mean it's obviously easier for me to become a personality in the U.S. I mean, the podcast, most of the podcasters are doing English and things like that, so it's easy for me to get my word out in North America. But to be here with all the Europeans, this is great because now I can I can evangelize Stronghold Games products. So we're doing some really great stuff, as you mentioned. I appreciate it, and so we can get that word out here in Europe as well. So it's a great experience, and I love the crowds and stuff. And somebody might drag me away for a second, but hopefully we can have 5 minutes here to talk.
What has been the difference between how people have received your games in the US and how they have received them in Europe? Is there a difference in terms of the reviews that you get in the demographics?
You know, I think almost gamers are gamers across the world. There's slight difference in tastes, but as you can see by my catalog, we are doing everything. We're doing, I've now branched into true Euro games. I didn't really have that early on, but now as the catalog's expanding, I'm growing my market horizontally. So I've had 2 Euro games now just in the last 3 months. I've had Milestone, co-publication with Eggert Spiele, my great friends Peter Eggert over at Eggert Spiele. We're doing that. And we did CO2 with GeoChicks, the Italian firm. It's beautiful artwork, big Euro game by Vital Lacerda. Again, selling great. It's one of the big hot buzzes at the convention. Beautiful artwork. You look at it, it's like a work of art. You almost don't want to touch the board. It's so beautiful. But so the Europeans are attracted to that, of course. But I haven't found very many that don't want to sit down and play some of the American style games. Space Cadets is my biggest selling game at the show. Obviously a very American style game. It's got all these puzzly things that are kind of Euro-y, but as a whole, that would be an American style game. So I can't keep it. I'm going to be sold out very soon of Space Cadets.
Now, regarding Space Cadets, how long in milliseconds did it take you to decide, yes, we'll do this?
It wasn't milliseconds, I must admit, and Jeff and I did talk for a while, but he really wanted me to do it. He's a friend of mine, too. Jeff and I live in New Jersey, and very close to each other. He's in my gaming group, and he really wanted me to do it, but I had to make sure that I wasn't only doing it because I love Jeff, right? And Jeff is a personality, too. That of course, helps. But I wanted, and he was still doing development, and I wanted to see what that final development was going to look like before I said, let's go do this. And I had a bunch of independent people play it, and they said, You've got to do this game. It's just insane. And there's so much in it, and we had to be careful about doing the game and getting it at the right price. It kind of pushes the envelope for that $60 US dollar price point. But it is a lot in there for your money, and is a great experience game. And that's one of those things that I like the best out of games, to be having an experience at the table with people. And that's what you're going to get out of Space Cadets.
Yeah, and it looks, I really like the artwork as well. It's looking absolutely lovely.
Show this as well. But yeah, really pretty. We're making it nice and light, and the components are just fantastic too.
Now, regarding components, you guys came to notoriety from the very first second that your games came out, because you don't hold back when it's about the quality of the components.
Exactly.
How do you handle the balancing act that you were mentioning earlier of delivering the best components at the right price and actually being able to make a living, because obviously you need to remain in business?
You do. I mean, we simply decided early on that we had to distinguish ourselves. One of the ways we distinguished ourselves was to bring back older games that people wanted. Survive. People were paying all this crazy money on eBay for that not very polished looking version from the 1980s by Parker Brothers, because that's all that they could do. They were 1mm cardboard and the ugly people meeples, but that's what you did back then in a very mass market game. But we wanted to bring this game back, and we said, you know what, we're not only going to bring it back, we're just going to put up the best quality components we possibly could. So now we have the three different sized tiles, the thicknesses, 6mm cardboard has never been done in a game before or since then, and then we put that into Survive. With Confusion, Robert Abbott's a brilliant design. We put those acrylic plastic tiles in there. We simply said that this is the way that we're going to attract people to know what Stronghold Games is all about. We have to raise our brand. Why buy a game from an unknown company unless there's something there? So by bringing back old games that had built in demand, and by showing what we could do with great quality components, we're going to raise our brand at the same time as these great games are being put out.
And it's worked a treat.
I think it's worked pretty well.
Now, there is also one thing that I just have to say, because for me, one of the highlights of your company has been how you guys handled Merchants of Venus. It would have been very easy for the two companies, you and Fantasy Flight, to fight over it, go on to a legal battle, and yet you went the gentleman way, and you've managed to do something that is pretty unprecedented and done absolutely amazing. So first of all, congratulations for being able to have the integrity and the guts to manage it in that way. But secondly, how has that helped Stronghold Way to be able to develop that relationship with Fantasy Flight and do something beautiful with them?
Chris Peterson, the CEO of Fantasy Flight, and I are like best friends now. I was having drinks with him last night. He has a party every year, and I was invited. We were having drinks, and we're both, congratulating each other and thanking each other again and again for all, the whole situation, because it worked out great. In the end, the game was produced for gamers. That was the end goal. Not only that, our influence on the game was the original version. So you have the original Richard Hamblin version, the original map on one side of the board, and then on the other side, the reimagined version by Rob Kuba. Because he made some changes to it and added some things in. Obviously, both games play great. Gamers get the game back. They get even a better game than before because they've got it all in there. The great Fantasy Flight quality because they do fantastic work. And my relationship with the most important man of the most important company, that doesn't suck either. So it's been very good.
Will there be more relationships, more games coming out between you and Fantasy Flight, more cooperation in the future?
I would say probably not. I mean, we run our companies independently, but there are certain things we are talking about licenses that maybe they don't want to do any longer, and maybe we would continue doing it, things like that. But it would be independent. So there's a chance. I'm not announcing anything here, but the good thing is that if I need an assistance with something, hey, help me ship some games because you're shipping, we'll ship together. I now have a very good relationship, with a great company, and that's a good thing. And the winner here, the gamers win, and that's really what it's about. There's no money to be made by bringing in lawyers. I love lawyers. Lawyers are good. I'm not saying bad things about lawyers, but they're expensive, and there's no money to be made by engaging lawyers into this.
Absolutely.
And there were other parties involved that have much deeper pockets than either Fantasy Flight or us, and nobody's going to beat people with lots of lawyers.
Now, just to finish, because you're getting busy, what's in the pipeline for you guys? What can we see between now and next Essen?
I can't announce any new titles yet, but I can say that we're going to continue to do a couple of things that you can see that you've seen us do very recently. Expand the product line into different niche markets, adding more Euros, adding more light games, light card games. Co-publications are going to be big. They're already big and going to get bigger. White Goblin Games is a partner of ours that we license their games. Egger Spiel, I'm going to be continuing licensing games with them, and I'm going to take my licenses and bring them out. I guarantee Article 27 is going to get licensed to a European publisher. It's a layup. It is a beautiful, wonderful game. It is an absolutely amazing game, all pure negotiation, language independent anyway, but I guarantee that this is going to go get licensed out to a nice publisher.
Well, I will be very much looking forward to saying anything else.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
As you can see, Spiel continues to be very, very busy, and we have been very busy doing an awful lot of interviews that we're hoping you are enjoying, and if not, just let us know so we can do better next year. But please look forward to the next installment of the GMS magazine at Spiel 2012.